All right, I just want to make a little video here. Just got back from about an 800-mile trip picking up this 3RZ-FE motor. I'll cover that at the end of the video, but what this video pertains to is the AFM, which is the airflow meter on the Toyota pickup. Now, the reason I'm making this video is because I know a lot of you guys crack the lid on this guy here and you make adjustments to it. And if you're not familiar with the airflow meter, basically it monitors the air coming into the engine. Air flows up through the air filter through this contraption right here, the AFM, and there's a door inside of it that swings open relative to how much air flows through. And then that notifies the ECU, which is back there in your right kick panel, how much air is coming in. And that's one of the main things that the ECU uses to compute the amount of fuel you need to inject into the engine, along with your TPS and so forth. So anyways, on the drive back, the truck did really well. I actually got some of the best mileage ever picking up that motor back there. I think I got a high of 28.5 miles per gallon, which is a new record for the Toyota and the 22RE here. But in the last 75 miles of the trip home, I started to experience a very strange symptom that I've never run into before, and that was where I give it some throttle, it starts to cut out under acceleration, particularly from a stop. And because I have the benefit, I don't have my keys on me here, but maybe you can look in here. Because I have the benefit of that center AEM lambda air fuel ratio gauge, I could see that the air fuel ratio was going very, very rich. It was going down to 0.75 lambda. And if you want to know what that is in fuel, traditional air fuel ratio, just take 0.75 and multiply it by 14.7, which is the stoichiometric value for gasoline. And that'll tell you what the air fuel ratio was from kind of a traditional number gasoline standpoint. In any event, the meter was really going over. Every time I tried to give it gas, I had to kind of, pussyfoot along till I got the car rolling. I jumped out at one of the gas stations and I cleared the ECU by pulling out this 15 amp EFI fuse for a couple minutes, and that did help tremendously. So if you happen to run into this cutting out issue, that's always a trick to remember. But when I got home, and on the last 75 miles of driving, I was thinking to myself, this feels a lot like something is wrong with the door in here. And I thought maybe it's sticking, and giving the ECU an incorrect value. So I was thinking maybe the door was sticking and telling the computer to give it too much gas. Because encountering an overly rich condition on your motor is a lot more unusual than encountering a lean condition, which will also cause it to cut out. A lean condition generally is, lack of gasoline. A rich condition obviously is too much gasoline. Let me stop the video and I'll pop this back off and continue here. All right, I just took my key and popped this open. So I've previously cut the RTV sealant around this to get in here, and the reason being is sometimes you need to adjust the notches on the spring. And you can see with my truck, this is the original factory setting, although this is a remanufactured airflow meter from Napa, I think. So it's been monkeyed with. But one would hope that when you buy it, it's set pretty close to what the Toyota factory specs are. And so you can see I'm running mine. It looks like 2 clicks or 3 clicks, depending on how you look. I guess 2 clicks more lean. Now, a lot of people like to run it more rich. I actually have had better luck with fuel mileage and performance running it a little bit lean. Now, maybe originally it was not set correctly, who knows, but running it lean actually works a little bit better. And basically what you're doing is you're just adjusting the tension on this, potentiometer that is tied to the door that works down in there based on how much airflow is coming through. So when you turn it this way, you're basically increasing the tension on the spring, and you're making the door not open as much as it would otherwise with a more lax spring. And because the door's not opening as far, it's telling the ECU, hey, there's really not as much air coming in as you think, because the door is being held a little bit, more shut. And so the ECU says, oh, okay, well, that, the door's not as open not as much open, so we don't need as much gas for that amount of air, which leans things out. And that results in better gas mileage. Now, even when you change stuff like this, the ECU is constantly searching around trying to get you into a perfect air-fuel ratio. And it's adjusting its air-fuel tables and so forth. So even if you monkey around with this a little bit, the ECU is always going to be on your back trying to get it to where it should be based on its data coming from the O2 sensors down there. So in any event, I was having this weird backfiring problem. And when I popped this open, much to my shock and horror, this thing was covered in a fine dust. Now, I've already blown it out initially, and this is totally my fault. This is my doing. It's because I didn't seal this. And somebody on the channel previously had put in the comments, hey, make sure you seal that. And I just never got around to it. I didn't think of the possible implications or ramifications. But here we are. And what has happened, if you look closely, is there's been a high level of oxidation with aluminum. And you can see some of the residual stuff here. And when I blew this out with the air compressor, it was just a ton of dust. It looked like this thing had been sitting around a forest fire with ashes, fine ash in here. So I think the reason for my backfiring was because there was a fine layer of aluminum oxide in here. Now I've already blown out the air compressor. I'm also going to clean this internally with mass airflow sensor cleaner. This one I picked up at AutoZone CRC. And I'm going to spray the electronics, particularly this little arm that sweeps on that circuit board thing, and then blow this out again, let it dry. And then I'm going to seal this cover this time because I don't need to make any further adjustments. And the reason I had the cover cut off in the first place was for easy access during adjustments, but I've since adjusted the way I want. Now you do have to be careful if you cut this cover off for any reason. Be careful, don't cut down too far here in the back, and stay to the sides, okay? And whatever you do, if you start twisting this spring around, make dang sure that you mark the original mark before you lift these little teeth up and this little retaining clip and start moving the spring. And you don't need to go too far. 2 or 3 notches total should be plenty to get you where you need to be. Anyway, as I said, I'm going to spray some mass airflow sensor cleaner in here, blow this out, make sure it's nice and clean, and then reseal this with some RTV Ultra Black sealant, and call it a day. And hopefully we won't have this problem again. But I wanted to make this video for anybody who might run into something similar. So not only can the door bind in there from corrosion on the little pivoting area, as I've shown in previous videos, but it can get dirty, filthy dirty in here, and that can really raise hell with the data going to your ECU, and that can result in a hesitation or loss of power when you're trying to accelerate, because the computer is getting some mixed signals or arcing or something, incorrect values from its little circuitry here, and it's giving way too much gas. And if you don't have, an air fuel ratio gauge welded into your exhaust or in the dash or whatever, it's very difficult to know, am I going rich or am I going lean? Because the two situations mimic each other in terms of losing power, cutting out, and having, you know, acceleration, hesitation problems. So that's something to be aware of. And if you're having those kinds of problems or diagnose some gremlins in your motor, that's something to check. And like I say, I was shocked and amazed to see the big cloud of aluminum oxide that came out of this. So let me, I mentioned I'll touch on this motor situation back here. All right, so here's the motor that I showed at the beginning of the video. And as you might already guess, it's a 3RZ-FE. If you have sharp eyes, you can tell this is probably a 2000 or later, because it doesn't have the distributor, but instead it uses the coil packs up there. Here's the coil packs right there. So it uses smart coils, which is nice because the igniter and everything's integrated into the whole package up on top. Do away with the distributor, and that's something that I think Toyota implemented on this particular motor around 2000, if I remember correctly. So this motor is used in 4Runner, Tacomas, that sort of thing. As you can see, it came out of an automatic transmission vehicle. Now this one here came from a wrecking yard. And the reason I got it was for the 3RZ-FE turbo project. I wanted a 4-port cylinder head, and that's what this is. Now, there's a lot of debate as to whether the 8-port or the 4-port flows better. I like the 4-port design, so that's what I'm planning on using here. It never hurt to have an extra block around, so nice to have that in the house. As mentioned, it's the same motor that you find in the 3rd gen 4Runners. 1996 to 2000 base models is when they used it. This one over here is a 2000, so it employs the coils on top, as you might have seen in some of my other videos. Currently working on the 4Runner, welding up a 2.5-inch stainless steel exhaust with the TIG welder from our buddies over at WeldPro. They supplied a real nice TIG 200 AC/DC welder, which I'm utilizing to build the stainless steel exhaust system. If you're not already subscribed, click the link there, and I'll have some more information not only about tearing down this motor and building the stainless steel exhaust for this 4Runner, but also that welder specifically. And I'm real happy to have WeldPro on board with the as the main sponsor for the 3RZ-FE turbo build. And like I say, that's where this cylinder head is the one that is most likely going to be used for that project. So happy to have a spare motor. I just got back, like I said, and you know, ran into that problem that we encountered with the airflow meter. And as soon as I wrap up this video, I'm going to hit this with some mass airflow sensor cleaner, and we'll see if that doesn't fix everything up for the truck. So, all right, if you have any questions on anything I've covered here, as always, feel free to use the comment section below. And thanks for watching.